Jonathan Kozol talks about meeting a young girl in 1994 by the name of Pineapple at PS 65 in the South Bronx. He says about her that she was a plump and bright-eyed child who had captured my attention when I leaned over her desk and noticed that she wrote her letters in reverse. I met her again a few weeks later at an after-school program based at St. Anne's Church, which was close to PS 65, where Pineapple and a number of her friends came for a tutorial instruction and for safety from the dangers of the neighborhood during the afternoons. The next time he visited her, in 1997, things were a lot worse at her school. There had been a massive turnover of teachers. Of 50 members of the faculty in the preceding year, 28 had never taught before, and half of them were fired or did not return the following September. Pineapple had 4 different teachers in a row while she was in 4th grade. One teacher used swear words to subdue the children. A-S-S-E-S, Pineapple said politely. Another teacher was fired for smoking in the building, while another was a young teacher who was not yet certified. Kozol talks of a day in St. Mary's Park when Pineapple asked him a surprising question. "What's it like?" she asked me, peering through the strands of beaded cornrows that came down over her eyes. "Over there, where you live." "Over where?" I asked. "Over, you know," she said with another bit of awkwardness and hesitation in her eyes. I asked her, "Do you mean Massachusetts?" She looked at me with more determination and a bit impatiently, I thought, but maybe also recognized that I was feeling slightly awkward too. "You know," she said. "I don't know," I replied. "Over there, where other people live," she finally said. Kozol then says, I didn't press her further about who she meant by other people after that. I think she felt it would be rude to say white people, which is what I was convinced she meant. Martha Overall, the pastor of St. Anne's, said, "They don't have any friends who are white children. When I take them with me sometimes to Manhattan to go shopping at a store for something special, or to a movie, maybe on one of their birthdays, and they find themselves surrounded by a lot of white kids, many of the younger ones get very scared. It's an utterly different world for them. In racial terms, they're almost totally cut off." Kozol writes that usually students who are doing well in school and hope to go to college would know the names of Columbia, Manhattanville, Cornell, or New York University. But with these kids, he found that references like these were virtually unknown to them. Professor Gary Orfield of the Civil Rights Project at Harvard University says, during the 1990s, the proportion of black students in majority white schools has decreased to a level lower than in any year since 1968. Almost 3/4 of black and Latino students attend schools that are predominantly minority. More than a quarter of black students in the Northwest and Midwest attend schools which we call apartheid schools, in which 99 to 100% of students are non-white students. Kozol came across a bit of painful humor from the black school teachers who grew up during the era of the integration movement and have subsequently seen its goals abandoned and its early victories reversed. They said, If you want to see a really segregated school in the United States today, start by looking for a school that's named Martin Luther King Jr. or Rosa Parks. Here are some examples of some of these schools that hold these historic names. What is even more shocking is what a 15-year-old girl named Isabel said about racial segregation. It's like we're being hidden. Think of it this way, said another girl sitting next to her. If people in New York woke up one day and learned that we were gone, that we had simply died or left for somewhere else, how would they feel? How do you think they feel? Kozol asked. I think they'd be relieved, this very solemn girl replied. As a consequence, nearly 100% of students at the high school in suburban Roosevelt on Long Island are Black and Hispanic. A 20-minute drive away at Plainview High, Black and Hispanic students only make up 1% of the enrollment, while 97% are white. The suggestion is virtually never made that one of the most direct ways to reduce the damage done to children by peer pressure is to change the makeup of their peers by letting them go to schools where all their classmates are not Black, brown, and poor, and children and grandchildren of the poor, but where a healthy confidence that one can learn is rooted in the natural assumptions of Americans who haven't been laid waste by history. It is harder to convince young people that they can learn when they're cordoned off by a society that isn't sure they really can. That is, I am afraid, one of the most destructive and long-lasting messages a nation could possibly give to its children.